So there was a tragic attack in Australia, and almost immediately a rumor just exploded online, and it pointed a finger all the way to the Philippines, creating this huge storm of confusion. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what happened and maybe more importantly, what didn't.
And this, right here, was the question at the heart of it all, the thing that fueled the entire narrative. A terror plot forged in the Philippines? It's a really shocking claim, right? And that's exactly what we're here to unpack. And, this wasn't just some random chatter on a forum somewhere. The story got so big, so fast, that major international outlets like Reuters were covering it. And that forced officials to respond, like, almost immediately. This was the moment that rumor went from the fringes and just slammed into the mainstream. All right, so how on earth did we get here? Let's take a step back and trace exactly how this explosive claim managed to catch on and just spread like wildfire. Okay, so here's the core allegation, plain and simple. The story that was spreading all over social media and even in some early news reports was this. The attackers, a father and son, didn't just visit the Philippines. No, they were supposedly there to get military or terror training for their attack. Now, this whole rumor didn't just appear out of thin air. It was really sparked by one key piece of information. The suspects had spent almost a full month in Davao City in the Philippines. And that lengthy stay, happening right before the attack, well, that was all it took to light the fuse on some really intense speculation. Okay, so when you have a rumor this huge, the first place you gotta look is the official sources, right? It's time to cut through all the noise and separate that speculation from the actual official statements. And we got a statement, a really direct one. The Philippine National Security Advisor Eduardo came out and said it. Quoted by Reuters, "There is no evidence," just flat out. That's the official, verified position, and it completely contradicted the story that was blowing up online. And look, this wasn't just a casual statement. It was backed by some serious digging. Authorities didn't just guess. They went through immigration records, checked hotel stays and local movements. They were coordinating directly with Australian officials. They were actively looking for any kind of link to extremist groups. And their conclusion, after all that, they found absolutely nothing. So we have the official word. But what about the view from Davao itself? What did journalists on the ground actually find out? Because this adds another really crucial layer to this story. Well, the gap between the rumor and the reality here is just massive. The claim was all about some secretive, sinister terror training. The reality, which The Guardian reported on, citing hotel staff and police, was that they just stayed in Davao City and were mostly just confined to their hotel. That's it. So when you put it all together, the official investigations, the on-the-ground reporting, the conclusion becomes pretty darn clear. All the available evidence points to a visit, just a visit, not some kind of complex terror training operation. But that begs a really important question, doesn't it? If the evidence against this rumor was so strong, why did it spread so far, so fast? What was going on? To understand that, we really need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. A lot of the time, the reason misinformation spreads so easily has less to do with the facts and more to do with our own psychology. It turns out, when multiple really high-stress things are happening all at once, our brains have this weird tendency to kind of emotionally lump them all together into one big narrative, even if they're totally unrelated. And just think about what else was in the news at that exact same time. You had high tensions over a totally separate incident in the South China Sea. You had all this national attention on the Sea Games. The point is, this Bondi story didn't happen in a vacuum. It landed right in the middle of a very crowded and, frankly, very tense news cycle. And that is the key. This collision of news stories, you've got one about a horrifying international crime, another about serious geopolitical tension, it can create this general atmosphere of alarm, of anxiety. And when we're in that heightened emotional state, a dramatic rumor can start to feel way more plausible than it actually is. So, knowing all of this, what can we do? How can we get better at navigating the noise the next time a huge story like this breaks? Well, let's put together a quick and easy fact-check toolkit. Actually, there's a really positive takeaway from this whole thing, and it's that good Responsible journalism worked super fast to counter the rumor. You had reputable sources like Reuters and The Guardian getting the official statements and the real context out there so quickly that dedicated formal fact checks weren't even really needed. The good reporting was the fact check. So with that in mind, here is a super simple 3-step habit we can all try to build. Number 1, and honestly this is the hardest part, just pause. Seriously, resist that instant urge to react or share. Just take a breath. Number 2, verify. Go check those reputable news agencies for official statements. See what's actually been confirmed. And number 3, contextualize. Ask yourself, why might this specific story be trending right now? And hey, for those times when the facts are really murky and it's hard to tell what's what, here are some of the go-to resources that journalists themselves use. It's probably a good idea to bookmark these. They'll definitely come in handy the next time a big story gets chaotic. And all of this really leaves us with one final, pretty big question to think about. In this digital age we live in, what's actually more powerful? The first shocking headline that grabs your attention, or the final verified fact